So good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us today. As you know, this is a series of interviews that we run with CEOs of companies which are in a way or another contributing to digital innovation in our ecosystem, but at the same time, in a way or another, reacting to COVID. Today, we have the pleasure to have with us Davide, which is the founder and CEO of Talent Garden. Good morning. Ciao, Davide.
Good morning, Carl and everyone.
Lovely. So let's be practical and go on some questions. As always, just to start from the very much the DNA of a company, how have you decided and why have you decided to create a co-working at the very beginning of your story?
So I was working in the digital sector since some years, and I was understanding that it's important not only to make our own job, but to understand that you can create something unique when you have around you the right people. And it's not only the people that work in your team, but it's also the people that are around you, the one that you can hire, the one that can support you, the partner that you can create. But also the environment and ecosystem overall. And obviously I was starting from Brescia, which is a small city in north part of Italy, and I was understand that without an ecosystem you cannot build something great. But obviously when we're talking about Europe, it's not easy to find the right ecosystem where you can grow. And so we were having the idea of trying to creating a place where all the different people working in the digital sector can meet, can learn, and can connect between each other. And so the idea that came out was the idea of opening Talent Garden. It is not only a co-working space, but want to be a campus where all the people from the tech sector can meet. So you can rent your own desk if you are a startups, if you are a big corporation working in the digital environment, but also if you are a freelancer, because we believe that the connection that you can create with people that are different than you is the real value that you can create. And after that, we understood that most of our members were not studying what they are doing in the university. And so we created the Talent Garden Innovation School that today train more than 1,500 people about technology and education. And so all our campuses has inside also our education part, in which we take our member and we support them on finding new talents. They are also sometimes our teacher in our courses, and we are training people in digital and technology sector. And we are organizing many events and moments to try to connect our community with corporates, because we believe that the real challenge of Europe is really create an ecosystem where people can get connected, not only in one country, but all over Europe. And for this reason, today we are in more than 8 countries across Europe with more than 23 different campuses that connect more than 5,000 people.
Thank you. Everybody is talking about co-working and smart working right now, but just to give, and I mean, we have for sure someone that follow us today that is from the real estate sector, some is coming from the education sector, but just to understand what is the P&L and the economics of a co-working, like, or a campus, as you said. Do you actually own the facility and the buildings or not? Where do you make revenues? Just the DNA of the company from an economic point of view.
So consider that for us, the real estate part is only the 40% of our revenue. 60% of our revenue are coming out of content. So we have all the educational part for students. We have all the corporate transformation area that help corporations to get in contact with our community and to innovate themselves. And we have all the events part, but overall are counting more than 60% of our revenue. And we believe that this is very important because we use the physical tool in order to attract people, but we have not as a goal the idea of putting people together.
So everybody, of course, due to COVID, is experiencing working from home or smart working. I don't know if it's always considered smart working or more forced working from home. And in a way or another, I assume that people are not or have not been during COVID physically into the office, I guess, especially in some countries, but pretty much everywhere. Which are the effects of COVID on your campuses right now?
So obviously our campus at the moment are not super full of people, but what we were saying and what we were doing also internally is we were putting people together in the idea that we want to empower them through our activity. So immediately we decided to totally go digital with all our activities in our community. We were making all our community activities online. Consider that we have bringing from yoga courses to all the training courses to all the activity that we do in order to empower our community totally online. Because we believe that the point is not about the idea of physical itself, but is about the idea of connecting people. And this is something that we can do also offline. And also for the future, now most of our campus have reopened. We start to have people that also come back to work. But what we decide also for the future is that some of our activity that we've seen that perform way better making online, we will continue to do it. Because it's not true, because we are starting from a physical campus, yes, but we believe that also online it works. On the opposite, we also believe that not everything during this month has worked online. And a lot of people really need the idea of physical touch. We have plenty of people that also during these weeks are coming back to the campus because they see the need of stay together, of in a physical space. They don't want to work from home, not because they need an office as before, but because still you need to stay in an environment with other people where you can meet them and understand together how you can collaborate.
So I believe and assume that many of your customers, for what concern the physical part, are actually companies or the decision makers of the companies. And also I'm listening to a lot of people that they're saying, oh, I don't need the office anymore, at least I don't need the office as it was to be and how big it was before. So what is happening in terms of the demand of request of co-working at the moment?
At the moment, it's pretty booming. Why? Because many companies understood that you don't need an office as it was before. Before, if you have a company of 50 people, you were thinking of having an office of 50 people and you go to the office every day. And also, all the corporates had some smart working policy, but at the end was something around half a day, 1 day a month. So it's something that was ridiculous. In the reality, now we understood that smart working is something that can work. And so you need to have an office in a totally different way. The best example is probably in the future, you need a space where the people of your team can go for like 2 days a week, maximum 3. So they can go when they have to make meetings, where they have to stay with other people, but they can also work very well remotely, like 2 or 3 days a week. On this, company will not need anymore an office of 50 people. If you have 50 employees, probably you need 10, 20 desks maximum. And in this case, flexibility is one of the main requirements, because you don't know exactly what you need, when you need, and the worst things ever is having your own space and understand how to manage. It's exactly like when we're talking about servers. Is no one today think about having your own server in your own office. You are thinking to use AWS or whatever cloud computing, and exactly is about the office. You need flexibility, total flexibilities, and then co-working on these are the best answer. And all over the world, co-working are really growing in these weeks because every company understood that they need way more flexibility when we're talking about physical space. They don't want to take care of all the safety measurement that all the different governments are making, and so you try to give to the one who are focusing on that, like working space. And people, in any case, is not that they can work from home every day, because they still need to have that environment where you can stay with others, where maybe 1 or 2 days a week, but you still want to have something that is not stay only close at your home and meet your colleague. Because what is really missing during these weeks and months is the fact that people want to see their colleague, to understand, and to have that, I can say, warm approach that is still needed and missing at the moment.
Davide, we have a short delay in your replies. Maybe it's for the iPod. I don't know if you want to try without, but In the meantime, I move forward with the next question. So should you be today designing a campus with everything that's happened with COVID right now? Would you design a campus in a different way? Which are the peculiarity of your campus, the campuses, and what kind of layout do you have? What kind of spaces are you creating inside?
So what we believe is if you come to the office only 1 or 2 days a week, you don't need any more the traditional office. So also we are working on understanding which is the evolution of an office space. We believe that yes, there is the COVID. Somehow one day or another one will disappear. Maybe it's 1 week, maybe it's 1 year or 2 year, but somehow we'll change it. But what will remain is the idea that when you go to the office has to be a place to meet others. So it's very key and important, the idea of flexible area, because you don't need anymore your own office space, closed one. It is really needed the environment where people can get connected. So lounge areas, flexible areas, meeting rooms, setting in a different way are something that are really, really key in the next years. But also shared services like environment where you can record your own video and podcast and so on became really key, because you need all this support on the technological side in order to avoid any technical problems. So spaces has to evolve itself, not only as a place with desk where you need desk to people work there, but people need to go there because meet others and has some tool that you cannot have at your own home.
And I mean, we've been talking a lot also in the past, but right now even more about the fact that people are rediscovering the suburbs or the, let's say, agricultural areas, or to be a little less in the center. Do you think that the place where co-working or campuses will be located will change in the future?
Sorry, I didn't understand.
I said, due to COVID, a lot of people are experiencing the pleasure of working outside the city center. Sometimes, even you and me, we've been talking just before this interview and said, oh, well, we were kind of lucky because we were not in the city center working, and I had the chance to get out, fresh air, etc. And we see also what is happening in food. People are trying to buy more local products, etc. Do you think the place, the physical area where campuses and co-working are located right now, often in the city center, will change in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there is also an evolution on this side. So position will become more important, and also external space. We try to have in all our space some terrace, some gardens, some of that has already a swimming pool, because we really believe it is important not only the internal space, but also the possibility to have an environment that is open. And I think that this ecosystem will really split into area. One of it is really central location for people that need to meet and so on, and the other one is really far, maybe also outside the city, where you can also sleep there and go to with like 5 colleagues for some days out of the space. So probably what will come is that there will be exactly two different type of players. The one who are really working on city center, maybe with a lot of space also outside, and the one that are a little bit more also like out of the city, maybe in the middle of the nature, that are not only co-working but probably co-living and co-working, because obviously will be another need that come out, and a lot of people are working on that.
And what about vertical campuses or vertical co-workings, really related, for example, to a specific industry or to specific technologies?
Absolutely, this is really the future. So I don't believe personally as a co-working space for the idea of sharing a space, and I think after COVID this will be also less than before. So people need a dedicated and quality community. So we were opening last year a campus in Milan that is dedicated to food tech technology, because we believe it is a huge sector where we have to make a lot of culture. And we decided to open the first vertical talent garden inside our network that is totally dedicated to food tech industry, with startups and corporates coming out of that sector. And we see the value of connection is like 10x than others, because obviously people are able to also collaborate way more. And in general, all talent garden is based on this idea. People in talent garden are coming only out of the tech sector. You cannot find a lawyer inside talent garden, and this is a key element, because really you can see the value of this connection.
And do you have any conflict of interest in this strategy? Because if you set up a co-working and I guess, or a campus where at the end, I guess there are some economic drivers that you need to put it up as fast as possible and at the best price as possible, I guess. But vice versa, you want to do a vertical co-working or hub, and you start receiving requests from companies that want to join that are not in line. What about this potential conflict of interest in launching a new initiative like this?
I personally don't see it. We really believe that co-working is an ecosystem, is a way to attract people, also competitors. So really be open, really be transparent, really be an environment where everyone can stay. It's really a key element of creating a successful ecosystem. And if you try to put some limit, will not work. You have to be an open platform. Everyone can come there inside the vertical space that you have decided.
I know, because many of my friends in even leading position in many companies have participated in the years to the TAG Innovation School. I think you have dedicated a lot of time, passion, and resources in building up this initiative, which of course right now you have created a lot of talents. What do you think about digital talents and the post-COVID revolution that we're facing? Which kind of data or information or HR people are calling you from the school point of view to look for people, and therefore which is your expectation around jobs in the countries where you are located?
So we see that during COVID, people understood that will be a global crisis, that the economy will have a lot of problems. But what also we all understood is that digital is the only way to get out of all of this. And based on that, the real missing point, at least when we're talking about Europe, is the fact that we have not enough talent that can work in a different company. So what is really missing is people, smart one, that can work on e-commerce, on developing software, on user experience, on digital marketing skills. So in Talent Garden, we are seeing a big increase of also people that subscribe to our courses, because people want to understand and upgrade their skills. They want to reskill some of them. And so invest in education is the best investment ever that you can do it. We are having around 200 students that joined Talent Garden Innovation School in this intake 2 weeks ago, studying from data analytics to digital marketing and so on. And it's something incredible to see how all the people also the courses before can very easily find a job, because it's true that will be many layoffs all over the world, and probably we are still at the beginning of seeing what with crisis will come, but companies need to invest in digital and technology, and so they will hire a lot of people coming from this sector, also if lay off people from other sector.
Thank you. So we've been talking about the spaces as a service concept that you just gave to us, the importance of a co-working mainly as a platform for exchanges, and not only the real estate part, which I deeply believe as well, and also, of course, which are the situation at the moment around people hiring, but which are the major trends that you see in the next 1.5 years in your space, in the co-working and campuses, also from a competitive point of view? what is going to happen?
I think that consolidation will be the main key element of this sector. During the last 3 to 5 years, hundreds of spaces open around the globe. We will see way less player. This is not only having a space empty that you can sub-rent to others. It's something where understanding how you can create a community, how to create a good branding of that space, how to create value out of members to really help them is really key. And so we believe that the consolidation will be pretty necessary. Economy of scale in this business is super important, and also diversification. Player that were only doing co-working space probably is very hard to survive. You have to be very, very good in really have different incomes and revenue sources where you can give your member a value. Because the real risk is that if you're giving only the value of real estate, no one needs you anymore.
Clear. And do you see potential competitors, vice versa, coming from different areas into the co-working space?
Yes, absolutely.
Who are the most candidate? Like, is there someone specifically that you see could move there in this space?
I think that there will be many movement from hotel chain that will also enter in co-working space, real estate players that will try to enter in also managing their own space, and for sure also all the players that already exist that will try to create bigger player out of them.
Okay. So I'm going to pose you another couple of questions myself, but at the same time, I would like to invite everybody that is following to warm up for your question. So feel free to start sending over some Q&A. I will pick them up. What are you offering in order to develop your community at digital level right now? Which are the digital enabled services that Talent Garden has been able to create and I guess is boosting during this month?
So we have seen that still in technology and digital, the main gap are coming out of culture. In particular, when we're talking about traditional companies, it's not only about skills or activity that you have to do, but it's also understanding the power that technology can empower when you're talking about your business. If it is new channels like e-commerce, or if it is more operational, like improve your operational point of view of your company. So really what we are trying to working is on the skills, and so we are running many different workshop and activity with corporates, helping them to understood how to empower people working for them in getting the right mindset and the right skills in order to be able to innovate. The second area that you're focusing on is when the company is ready, is open, has the right mindset, understand how they can collaborate with the Talent Garden community. And so working with startups, working with freelancers, understanding that innovation is not only something that you can run internally, but is also something that you need to collaborate with external players. And so this collaboration and open innovation is something really key for the future. And the third element, we were launching also this platform about a new way of working that is called Antea, that is a platform that helps big corporations that, went to work remotely in these weeks, but it's very difficult for them to understand how to apply new way of working inside them, and passing from remote working to smart working is not only the fact that you're working from home, but the fact that you're working in a smarter way. And so we create this platform that is the subscription model where a lot of companies are bringing their employees to understand how to evolve the skills of them, how to manage a meeting when we're talking about online, how you can manage and work with people when you are remotely, how you can setting up meetings, how you have to set up your own working space when you're working from home. It's something really key that most of employees doesn't know, and we developed this platform Antea exactly to support companies out of this challenge.
Super. So again, as I said, if people are willing to post some question, it's definitely a good time now. And what about I've heard speaking a lot about a lot of companies, corporates that have a lot of offices, which unfortunately, in a way or another, will probably over dimension in the future. Some of them, it's unfortunately because they will fire people, and they're trying to think about how to, in a way or another, sub-rent these spaces. But on the other side, I'm not sure if that makes any sense in the logic of co-working, because if they are corporation, of course, there are always parameter of security. They come from a different mindset. Do you believe that there's going to be a sort of let's say competition in smaller, let's call them co-working spaces, due on prices I'm talking about, due to the fact that many corporates will kind of set up these small co-working spaces as an alternative?
Yeah, the reality is the fact that co-working business, again, is not about the space and is about economy of scale. So you don't need a space to work. You need a space where you can connect with other people, first of all. And second, the co-working space can survive only if they are big enough to have the economy of scale to sustain the business. So I don't see personally the possibility of having a lot of small co-working space across, because that model has the idea that you need only a working space to work from, and a small space can sustain themselves, and both of that is not really true. So I think that will be bigger space, maybe in different area of the city, but still a few big one with all the security that you need, than a lot of small one that is financially not sustainable.
When you're talking about scale and dimension, you're talking about the overall organization that manages the co-working, and or specifically the single co-working hub or campus. And in case, in any way, which is the minimum, in your opinion, size to have really a hub and not only renting out spaces?
So we have seen that under 2,500 meter, there is no the possibility of really great economy of scale, because the cost of internet is the same for a space of 500 meter and of 5,000 meters. And the same thing is about people and all the fixed costs that this business has. So in the reality, this is the real minimum size that you need in order to create something that can really create economical value and be sustainable. But long term, it's very important.
And how much important has been in your growth the fundraising, which I think is very well known from everybody that you made. So how have you managed yourself as an entrepreneur to decide to go on the market of looking for capital, and what is the relation that you are creating with your investors?
So I believe that if you are an entrepreneur and you can avoid to make fundraising, you have to do it. So I really don't think that making fundraising is a cool activity, is a pain that you need to do it in the case in which you need the resources to grow. So I really not suggest for people to say, I want to make a fundraising because I need to make a fundraising. If you can avoid it. We need to make it. We raised up to date something around 60 million during the last 8 years, because unfortunately our business is pretty capital intensive, and so we were needing to have capital, external one, that can support to grow the company. But really, if you can avoid it, make it, because it's is managing shareholder, and most of all is the fact that you bring a lot of complexity to the company itself. And when someone invests in you, is not an investment that you don't to have to return. If someone invests you and invest in you €1, he an average want €4. So when you're talking about €4 is easy. When you're talking a big amount of money, giving back 4x is not something easy.
Mm. I guess that particularly, correct me if I'm wrong, in the co-working evaluation, the full story of WeWork has kind of had some impact on the investor side. But on the other side, and which was not necessarily positive, I would assume, on the other side, I deeply believe that that's also the title of our interview, that co-working and let's say campus, as you call them, will have a huge yo-yo effect, in the sense that everybody is experiencing the benefit of working smart working. But also for those that haven't tried, I would deeply recommend to go to visit one of your campuses, because it's really inspiring. I mean, I've been probably when you were launching the first one in Milan, that's when we met, and I was coming out with an experience and with something I've learned. So by the way, congratulations for what you have achieved, because it's really unbelievable. And today, Tag, I have friends that have come to your classes and your schools, which are proud to say that they've been able to participate. So despite the very difficult situation at the moment, which everybody's experiencing due to COVID, you achieved something amazing. So really super, super, super. But what is the evaluation that we are going to have in the future for co-working? Because my expectation is that it's true that we had WeWork experience, the try to lease, etc., and a very big evaluation. It's also true now we're experiencing something very difficult, but I'm 100% sure that the future of the market will be tremendously positive. What is your expectation?
Yeah, thanks a lot. And for sure, yes, the point is one company has created the sector, and that company has a lot of problems, but not due to the market opportunity, but due to the operation, as most in the most of the case happen. So when we're talking about co-working business and education business, we are talking about a multi-trillion business. So we're talking about something incredible that will change a lot in the next years. Obviously, as every case is super difficult and heavy to really develop new and develop new business in this sector, because it's something where it's capital intensive, really operational intense business. So it's really hard. WeWork make a lot of mistake, but we also create something incredible. Always remember that Regus, that is the other big player in this market, in the last 25 years arrives to 3 billion revenue with more than 300 million EBITDA. That is something not bad. On the opposite, they were taking 25 years, and WeWork did the same in less than 7 years. And so they reached the same amount of revenue, and for sure losing money. But when you're seeing that you're losing money, or someone is stupid, or someone probably is good. So the point is, if you do something in 1/3 of the time, obviously you cannot also focus on profitability, but the market is there, will boom in the next future. You need to be able to keep it and to make it.
And talking about your company, your smart working, and the type of people that are working in your team, I would not even say for you. I guess your style of management is very different than many corporate one. Who is the right person to be hired for you in your company?
So inside Talent Garden, we have a culture that is way more as a tech company than as a real estate company, for sure. Also because, as I said before, more than 60% of our revenue are coming out of other services that are not the physical space itself. So we really see the fact that inside Talent Garden, we want people with a tech mindset. It's a company that has as the first cultural value, done is better than perfect. So we expect people who are really willing to test, to not having a clear direction, but like make and make their own job and try to make out of the best of what and how Talent Garden is. So it's really an entrepreneurial spirit. It's not a super structured company, something where we are still structuring, and this obviously is bringing a lot of complexity to the daily operation, but it's something that we are working a lot on, try to create an environment where people can express themselves, and it's not easy to do it. We are challenging ourselves every day on this, but we really believe on the idea that every individual needs the possibility to really express themselves and in an environment that somehow put you in the condition to do it. It's easy to say in a theoretical point of view, not is difficult to implement, but it's really what we are trying to.
About the comments that you made before about competitors and new trends, Candy, I guess she's asking about what do you think about the movement of existing businesses such as hotel, cafes, bank, restaurant, etc., offering their underutilized space as a workspace as a new revenue stream for them. What do you think? For them, it's a good move. Like, do you think it's gonna work?
I think that will come more and more. I think this will be something that in the future there will be. Again, the real question that you have to make to yourself is what people need a space to work, or people need an environment that can help them to perform better? And so the risk of using restaurant during the day, but in the evening are restaurants, and during the way the day became working space, can work, but you have really to plan space to meet other people that you can create value out of that. Where it's not only having a space to meet, but is having an environment where you can feel productive. And so this is the real challenge of all this experiment.
And Serse, connecting to what you just said, I guess, is asking how you actually push people and the resident to collaborate and network one with the other. So, like, practically, what are you doing day by day to make that happen and transform a camp, let's say, a space into a campus?
So we are running three main activities out of that. The first one is that we have our community manager, people who are working every day to try to connect members between each other. The second one is about artificial intelligence system that we have developed internally that is called Genie, that connect every week the people between themselves in order to try to create business opportunity. And the third one is obviously our events and community activity that we do in order to connect people, but maybe they don't need each other. And in general, we try to create a feeling and culture where people know that they come to Talent Garden not because they need a co-working space, but because there are people in your sector that you can collaborate with. And this is the first element, the mindset that people need to have when they're entering inside our space.
You have a lot of companies around Europe which are member of your campuses. I'm trying to avoid any word that is related to space because I understand now the philosophy. But you have many scale-up and tech companies which are resident in your campuses. Is there someone particularly that you had the chance to talk with these days that is benefiting from the COVID that you want to highlight as a very good experiences of innovation?
So yes, we have a lot of scale-ups and companies that are, I can say, using Talent Garden in many different markets across Europe. And we are trying to work with this player because they're bringing a lot of experience to our community. If you have around you company like Uber, company like BlaBlaCar, company like Deliveroo, they can bring a very high level of experience across Europe. And during these last weeks, we see that they continue to work exactly as before because they see somehow the opportunity of, and we have many of them that are also running operatively in our space in many different markets. And we try also to make collaboration with them to have them in all the different markets, try to develop partnership at European level. And this is also one of the other key factor of being across Europe and not only in one market. So we are working a lot on really creating a connection and value between these members, and try to help all of these members to be really flexible across the different markets, because we believe that is one of the main requirements and need to grow.
And thinking about your own innovation, like in terms of new services, new idea, new solutions, what have taken to you this COVID situation?
So the first things and the first element is, we were talking about digital for the last 20 years. Now digital became reality. We're talking that maybe thinking about the fact that education can also went online, and we went all online. So really, COVID teach us that everything that we were planning now is becoming reality, and we were now see way more the need of player like Talent Garden that help to create a culture about digital and technology. Now the real challenge is, are we able to really scale fast and follow the market need and opportunity? Because maybe for sure the COVID-19 will disappear somehow. Again, we don't know if in one day or in 5 years, but will disappear. But what will be and what will remain is the need of digitalization of Europe.
And I guess you have a very special radar over what is happening, new companies creation, people getting into events and seminars. Have you ever thought to diversify personally in different companies of technologies, thanks to your very special observatory, which you have? And if yes, where have you done that?
Yeah, absolutely. We're thinking every day about potential diversification of a business and activity new that we can do in order to empower our member. But we also believe that when you try to do something, you have to try to be as much as vertical as possible, and try to collaborate with others who are working very well, in order to avoid also to do everything but very badly. So we decided to open a co-working space, education school, corporate transformation events with our four main area, and we want to scale this all over Europe, but is already a big challenge. So yes, we have many opportunities of new things that we want to do it, but we believe that the best way again is being an open platform, habilitate all our members to create new stuff internally, but avoid to making ourselves.
Absolutely. I agree with that, and we are pretty much also in Netcom as a community in the same dimension. I'm going through all the topics we have discussed before to prepare here. What have we forgot to say? Like, what do you really want to integrate, which we forgot to mention, that is something important in the domain of smart working, digital transformation of our areas, and co-working?
We believe that we empower people working technology across Europe. This is our mission, this is our scope. We are running many different activities inside our campuses, but all the time we are focusing on the idea of creating value for people and in the digital sector, and helping them to succeed, giving them all the best tools, resources, and network that they need to empower them. We are creating as Talent Garden a physical environment for digital humankind.
Okay, super. So I think we have pretty much covered all the topics. I don't know if anyone has any other question. You still have 1 minute to move forward if you wish. Otherwise, I think we have definitely tackled most or all the topics we had in mind. We hope you... how do you see Talent Garden in 3 and 5 years?
So we see Talent Garden all over Europe. We are opening new campuses across Europe. We are growing a lot in the educational side, because we believe that we can really be a game changers in the digitalization of Europe, train the best talent and support the best talents in making it happen. So our vision is making and going public because we believe it is the best way to create a long-term company. And we believe that we and Europe in general need to avoid the fragmentation that exists at the moment, connect countries, and we believe that Talent Garden is the best way to connect countries when we're talking about digital and tech community.
So basically you have replied to the second question, which is, do you plan to remain in Europe?
Yes, we think that Europe is a huge market. For sure, in the future, we can also grow outside, but at the moment, our main focus is avoid the fragmentation of Europe. We are seeing also other markets like South America or potentially Asia, but we believe that there is enough to do for the next 3 to 5 years in Europe. For sure, later on, we will see.
And what about Switzerland, which is not in Europe, but still very close by? Well, not in the European Union, let's put it like that.
Yeah, obviously I'm talking about Europe at the geographical level. So yeah.
But what is, as an Italian entrepreneur in during COVID, like what is your perception of Switzerland right now?
I think Switzerland has an opportunity, as always during the crisis, to be really a place that connect people across Europe, that is somehow a free environment where all the others entrepreneurs and managers can go and can stay during a period in which will be a global crisis. So I really see a big opportunity for Switzerland to really not be only the financial point of view, the central point, but also from a technological point of view. You have different cultures, different languages, and you can really be a melting point where all the different talents across Europe can meet.
Thank you. I think many of our Swiss followers will be happy to hear your voice in this sense. So again, Davide, congrats for what you have achieved until today. Thank you very much for your time and your disposal and kindness, as usual. I wish you all the best for the next month, which are for sure going to be tough, but at the same time, I'm sure there will be a big opportunity shortly for additional growth. And I wish you all the best.
Thanks a lot.
Ciao, Davide. Thank you. Thanks to all the participants.
Thank you. Bye. Ciao, ciao.